support for the Untold Radio Network family of shows and join in on the conversation by using super stickers and super chats on YouTube. Got a question you want answered? Ask it live via a super chat and get real-time responses from our show's knowledgeable hosts and guests. Help keep the Untold Radio Network shows running strong. We need your support. Send your super chats and stickers now.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Untold Radio. It's episode 105. Can you believe that?
I do. I can believe that. Should have been quite a bit more.
I hope everyone had the best Christmas possible.
Yes, and this is our last show for 2024, so it's our roundup of what's transpired this year.
Well, it is 2024, the year in review.
That's right. Beyond
Thunderdrone. Because you've always wanted to be that incredible Tina Turner beyond Thunderdome, haven't you?
I thought if there was an end of, an apocalyptic end, that I would be good to have my own, little enclave of people, and I could be Tina Turner. I'd be the boss.
I think you're already running beyond Thunderdome here. Anyway, look, we're broadcasting from Sydney, Australia. We're in the western suburbs. It's part of the incredible
Durham people.
And we want to show our respect to elders past, present, and emerging, because we are on sacred land, and we will always be on sacred land, and you have to pay attention.
Isn't all land sacred? I think all land is sacred.
I think all land should be sacred.
Absolutely, because we need this. We need the land to live on and off. And if we look after it, it will look after us. But
that's the way I feel about it.
That's not happening, is it? But anyway.
2024, what a year. I mean, if the Fordians would have called this, someone opened the window way too wide on high strangeness. Everything is going down, and everything is up for grabs. I mean, what is happening with these drones is beyond conception. It's not receiving the media it should.
It's weird, isn't it?
And we're seeing lots of what look like plasmoids. And we're going to go into the whole plasmoid theory because I think in many ways it's the most illuminating of all. Plasmoids, they're like Earth lights.
Yes.
They're like Min lights. They're like the Martha lights.
Yeah.
They certainly are. But what a year that was, Aspasia. I just don't know how to even, reach a point where I can understand it. The things that occurred last year, they brought out the Apple Vision Pro. Reality is sitting tenuously on a very fine line at the moment.
Well, what is
real and what isn't?
Reality?
We spoke about the inversion now, where security systems, there's so much artificially created AI material out there where security systems cannot differentiate anymore.
No, they can't.
Because it's reached the tipping point.
It has.
With well over 50% of the material just on the side like YouTube.
I look at
created
stories.
by algorithms.
I look at stories now and I think to myself, is this real or is it not? Is it made up? I mean, how do we know? Unless you spend hours and hours going back to the source of where it came from, you're not going to really know whether it's a real story or just something that's been made up, for whatever reason.
So much is going on. I mean, the Cybertruck came out at the end of 2023 and it's had its year out there where, Tesla, Elon Musk, SpaceX, what do? They use the public to actually road test their vehicles.
Yeah.
And whether you survive that road test or not doesn't matter.
Well, no, it doesn't anymore. It's just
when the improvements come.
There's no public health and safety concerns anymore, is there? It's all about just making bucks.
Just see how much that Cybertruck got into other countries because it doesn't have that crumple factor at the front, doesn't it? It's never going to get here. They're speaking about it coming here, but they're going to have to do vast improvements.
I can tell you
it's
now.
It's already banned in parts of Europe.
I spoke to someone whose father is actually one of the people that
imports?
Not imports, but he is the person from the Road Traffic Authority.
Oh, right, okay.
Who, I can't even remember who it was now, but when he told me, when I was telling him about our podcast on the Cybertruck, he said, my dad said to me, there's no way that thing is ever coming into this country.
Right.
Not while he's on the board of passing. You know, what they do is they inspect them and they pass the cars that can come into Australia that have the safety regulations that are in place here in this country. And he said the way that truck is now, even if they modified it 100 times, it still wouldn't come up to Australian standards. So he says he doubts very much that it will ever reach these shores. But anyway.
All right, look, let's start to slowly work through. We can only cherry pick classic events
too much stuff
that resonated to us in 2024.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about the world of Anomalous.
Yeah.
Here's just a few examples. I know we've lived through another incredible year where there was another series of congressional hearings on the UAP, the UFO.
There'll probably be more next year, I'd say, but I don't know how much closer we're going to get to any kind of conclusion, but anyway.
And they all spoke to a subcommittee of the House Oversight Committee. That was in November 2024, and the revelations were astounding. But did they fall on deaf ears or what? I mean, are we living in the Truman Show? That's fascinating, but let's just turn to the next channel.
I think we've always lived in a little bit of the Truman Show because, people are fascinated for 5 seconds.
Yes.
Like, oh, wow, what's happening? And then it's like, oh, but what else is happening somewhere else? We have this whole thing. We've been so overstimulated, that we're always looking for the next exciting thing. And we've got the, MOFO, fear of missing out.
Yeah. That's why there's so much freaky stuff on the web, because people just get to a point where they're oversaturated, they're overstimulated, they need to go further.
They're over.
And that notion of addiction just gets worse and worse.
Well, it is. This stuff is addictive, isn't it?
Well, I mean, let's consider one of the top rating sites, and pornography comes up there big time with the anomalous and conspiratorial information. So it's down the rabbit hole and into another one.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's get to Peru.
Let's get there.
Let's define what I believe is the best research has come from Timothy Alberino, and he has a great YouTube channel. Look it up, Alberino. He's also an author. He's literally the Raider of the Lost Ark, isn't he?
So, but do we see where he's come to at this point now?
I think where he's come to is that long expedition he did down there literally proved that these villages are definitely going through something anomalous.
Right.
This is not what was first stated. Illegal mining.
Yeah.
Guys flying in on floating platforms.
Yeah.
I mean, they're extraordinary. People were seeing 7-8 foot tall armor sort of predator-like aliens on these flying platforms late at night. The pelicanus, the face peeler. But let's have a listen firsthand. Look, research is research, but when you sit at the end of a keyboard and do research, it is nothing in comparison to field research.
Actually going out.
So the location we're in now is on the periphery of many Yowie hotspots in Sydney.
Yes.
Glenbrook, Emu Plains. We're going to get to them. We're going to start doing field research next year. But
I'm going to stay home at the base.
Okay.
Keep the home fire burning.
It's nothing like what Mr. Alberino did, which was go to this village, take them loads of supplies, be very empathetic, train the people in the village in the correct use of firearms, because the firearms they were using were frightening. But let's have a listen to one of the most important pieces, and I suggest that people actually go to Timothy's site and they have a look at that entire episode. I think that episode is the Peru Alien Attack Expedition Report.
Okay.
It goes for about an hour and 45 minutes, but here's one of the interviews to just give you this sense of realism.
To talk with us. Now, if you recall, Doug, before I started to interview her, and before I started to interview her, she was extremely nervous, just like the previous day. But then after I asked her the first question, and it was simply, Talia, please tell us what happened to you.
Toma tu tiempo, yo sé que es difícil. It's extremely traumatized, this girl.
She just stood there and trembled. Head to foot, trembled. For probably a good 2 minutes, just stood there silent, trembling. She could not speak. Obviously something very traumatic had happened to her right there in the backyard where we were standing. And the assailants were my height, I'm 6'1", reminded her of the assailants because they were very tall. So what happened to Talia? What happened to this young lady is that one night, one evening, she was picking fruit from her tree. And this was right after dusk, so it just got dark. She's picking fruit from the tree. She's knocking the fruit down with this long stick, and the fruit falls to the ground. Talia proceeds to bend over and pick up the fruit that fell to the ground, and there are under the tree there are some dead leaves, and suddenly she feels this gust of wind behind her, and the leaves she notices rustle as she goes to pick up the fruit. She feels this gust of wind, and the leaves are rustling a little bit on the ground. And so she looks behind her, and what does she see? She sees a person coming up the hill, because the backyard is kind of a little gully. It's forested. There's some jungle there between the other houses. So it's this little gully. We have it on film. And she sees this guy, this person, this thing coming up the hill, almost as if he's surfing on one of these circular platforms. And he comes up the hill and he lands next to her and then immediately grabs her. He seizes her from behind and he places his hand over her mouth. So he's got her from behind and he's got his hand over her mouth so she can't scream. Then she sees another one of these guys coming on another platform up the hill and lands and positions himself in front of her and grabs her leg. So now she is being held by two of these pelacaras, face peelers, one behind her with the hand over the mouth and the other has her legs. The description she gave me of these individuals is identical to what everybody else was saying to us. They were dressed head to foot in black body armor. She even described the body armor in greater detail than anyone else. She described how it was on the forearms and on the shins, and the chest was some sort of like a breastplate, metallic, and they were wearing these helmets, these large helmets, elongated helmets. I covered the entirety of their faces. So the very same description that everybody else gave to us, this is what Talia encountered. They were very tall. One of them, which she calls the gringo, was taller than me, considerably taller than me. The other, I think she said, was about my height, if I recall. That one I dubbed the Peruvian. The reason why is because according to Talia, these individuals spoke Spanish. The taller one, she says, spoke Spanish like me, like a gringo with an accent. And the smaller one spoke like a Peruvian. And I specifically asked Talia, the Spanish that this individual spoke, was there an accent? Was it Ecuadorian? Was it Bolivian? Was it Cuban? Or did it sound like Peruvian? Did they have an accent? She said he sounded just like all of us. So I started calling this individual the Peruvian. So that's how I'm going to refer to them. The Peruvian face peeler and the gringo face peeler. We don't know if they're people. I'm not saying they're human beings. This is the testimony that Talia gave us there in her backyard. So these individuals have her in this manner, but they're hovering, mind you. They're hovering on these platforms, and they proceed to lift her up. Now, I don't recall, Doug, if she was telling us something about how she was speaking very, very softly. She was very nervous. She was telling us something.
Obviously, Talia is suffering post-traumatic stress disorder. How
As you would
how
after
do you
that kind of
ascertain
experience.
that these were illegal minors? I mean, to begin with, flying platforms need great navigational skills.
Absolutely.
Doing them after dark makes an in the canopy that is so dense in the Amazon, it is virtually impossible. But what you need to do there, if you want some more clarity on that, go to Timothy Alberino's site and look at that expedition.
Yeah, it was on there.
He did extraordinary work there. So
it's a fascinating show.
Absolutely fascinating.
Worth listening to.
And then New Year's Day hit, because what we're looking at there is a bit of 2023 that carried strongly and firmly into 2024. And as far as I believe, has not really come to a conclusion down there or ascertained what they're actually properly dealing with. But I think Timothy certainly got to the bottom of it. And just his caring nature and his love and humility is just astounding to watch him with the local villagers. But let's go to Miami Vice. And what happened there on New Year's Day of 2024, which was the Bayside Marketplace Mall.
Rumors of aliens invading Miami are going viral on social media.
This is for real, folks. The conspiracy theory stems from a large police presence at Bayside Marketplace on New Year's Day.
Take a good look at your screen. Are those aliens walking in front of Bayside Marketplace in downtown Miami? Online conspiracy theorists are saying that shadowy figure not far from parked Miami police cars appears to be an alien.
Honestly, I think it looks pretty real to me. Alien look pretty chill.
I'd be friends with an alien. I think it'd be pretty cool.
The viral video was allegedly taken during that massive police presence at Bayside on New Year's Day.
Now that
alien looks pretty chill. Yeah, these are the people that we're going to listen to.
That police presence was overwhelming.
Well, there was something weird going on there. I don't know if it was anomalous.
No, I doubt that it was.
Yeah,
I think primarily it was a large lot of scallywag young people with fireworks setting them off in the mall. But the police presence was out of control. At one stage, there was dozens of police cars. And we have seen that recently with what's happening in New Jersey with these drones.
Yeah.
And some of these drones are coming down and massive police presence there. But let's have a look at what has happened with the endless recalls on the Cybertruck. From the accelerator pedal right through. Everything. At the beginning there, it was slicing, dicing in Juliet. It should have been a Demtel product, but things have only got worse.
The crash of a Tesla Cybertruck in Piedmont last month that killed 3 young people is raising new questions about the safety features of the vehicle. KTV's Ali Rasmus joins us once again in studio with a closer look at those concerns.
Yeah, Greg, the deaths of those 3 college sophomores the morning before Thanksgiving left the Piedmont community in shock. We're learning more about the truck's design and how difficult it can be for people inside to escape when seconds count. Piedmont's police chief said that when emergency crews arrived, the truck was fully engulfed in flames when that vehicle crashed. Police officers tried to put out the fire with extinguishers, but it was too hot. Last year, dozens of Bay Area first responders received special training on how to tackle electric vehicle battery fires, which can require huge amounts of water to put out. People who drive or ride in Teslas may not realize they could have a hard time getting out of their vehicle if it catches fire. That's because when the battery power is lost, people have to use a manual release to open those doors. Now, in many EVs, a double pull of the latch will open the door. But in the Cybertruck, Tesla's website shows the front door release is in front of the window switches. The back door release is in the side door pocket underneath a panel. Michael Brooks of the Center for Auto Safety in Washington, D.C. told us there are currently no federal standards for where those emergency releases have to be located.
Really absurd to expect humans in situations where there's a fire and seconds matter to be able to look in their owner's manual and figure out how they're going to open a manual door release that's hidden.
Isn't that interesting? I mean, it just gets more and more absurd. And in many ways, it shows that Elon Musk and Tesla are literally having the public road test their vehicles for them, safety check them, something that should be done before it reels off the production line. And these things, I mean, you know what? Here is a ute, a tow truck that can't really tow. I mean, they found at the end of the day, they had moments where they're towing it and the whole bottom section was removed from it because it's literally got an aluminium screw mount, just like they had one screw on the accelerator pedal that was so dangerous. It was coming off. Anyway, let's just keep following that incredible madness by the person that was never really the engineer he was made out to be. And let's hope that he doesn't get the nanobots onto us.
Well, he's actually none of the things that he
makes himself
invents or creates. Let's not say invent. He does. He's not an expert in any of the things that he comes up with. And it's like we all come up with ideas. Everybody comes up with ideas, but because we're not experts in whatever field it is, you know, most of those ideas, well, all of those ideas really don't come to fruition because we don't have the money, the resources, or the testing, you know, abilities to actually put these things together and then road test them and make sure that they work. But this guy does. He has got the money. The problem is
the taxpayer.
Well, he gets the money, but the problem is that, you know, like this Cybertruck, it's like it was created. It's like a little 5-year-old telling you, I want the truck to look like this, be able to do that, and that.
His 5-year-old son or something.
Well, there you go.
Yep.
And so, you know, saying I want these features and I want it to look like this is one thing. It's another thing to actually be, you know, the logistics of being able to do that is a totally different story, you know. But when you've got a lot of money and someone says to you, I want you to make this, then people, you know, if their jobs depend on it, then they're going to try and do whatever they can to appease this psychotic person, right? And give them what they want. But that doesn't necessarily mean that this thing is going to be safe and 100% working.
It seems like we spend too much time being intimidated and appeasing people that sit on the borderline of the spectrum in a very dangerous way.
Anyway.
Speaking about Boeing and the Starliner and Sunita and Butch, Sunny.
I am every time I hear about those people,
it's killing us all in space.
I get so distressed. I really get and I don't usually get distressed like this about things like that because they are out of my control. I have no control over them. I can't do anything about it. But I was just thinking these two people were going to go on a mission for 8 days.
It's killing us
and they are still up there. And what was the date we got?
Now with the SLS and Artemis, it's been pushed back again.
Yes.
So I think the date they've got, they were supposed to January, February. Now it's March. The end of March. It looks like it's April.
So what? 3-4 months away still. Can you imagine the
8 days, 10 days has turned into 10 months.
That's just frightening.
And it's dangerous for them. Let's check it out.
Well, they've already spent an additional 6 months in space, but the Boeing Starliner astronauts learned today that their return home has been delayed once again. Astronauts Sonny Williams and Butch Wilmore have been stuck in space since June. They were only supposed to stay on the ISS for a week, but problems with their spacecraft meant they could not take the capsule home. A new crew needs to launch the tube to come back home, but that mission...
Can you talk to me about the impact zero gravity has on the human body, especially in a prolonged stay like we're seeing now? Again, 6 months in space.
Every cell in the human body is semi-dependent on the gravitational pull of the Earth. As that changes, so do things in the body. Not enough load is being put through certain tissues, muscle and bone to be specific, and those tissues begin to atrophy, meaning shrink. And from a bone perspective, really the bone loses density, sort of what you might call a rapid aging of bone. However, it is reversible, but for the most part, they need to come back to Earth before that can.
Welcome to Top Breaking News. A festive photo from space is stirring up a lot of questions. NASA recently shared a heartwarming image of astronauts Sunita Suni Williams and Don Pettit on the International Space Station, rocking Santa hats. But here's the twist, NASA's astronauts are currently operating under unique circumstances. The ISS is isolated, and resupply missions are tricky, especially with the recent coolant leak that's left the crew facing serious challenges. Now, you might be thinking, how on earth did they get those hats up there? With supply runs being delayed and the ISS under tight constraints, some space enthusiasts are scratching their heads, wondering if these hats were smuggled aboard, a Christmas miracle, or maybe a hint that the situation isn't as dire as they're letting on.
I don't know about the hats, but Butch, but they're going on about Sunita and Sonny there, but Butch looks totally different.
Well, he's just lost so much. Well, I knew he'd lose weight, but he's looking haggard.
Yeah.
And so is she.
Yeah.
And they've only been up there for 6 months.
And, I don't want to actually upset the family,
my
who
God.
I'm sure is not watching our podcast.
So distressed.
But this is getting freaky. Look,
every time I think about those poor people.
Boeing has gone derelict, really, haven't they?
Well, it's not even Boeing's gone
derelict. It's all about profit, not about safety.
Wasn't it George Bush that said that we would be going to the moon? By now, we would be at the moon.
Yeah.
And we can't even get 2 people back from the space station, which is not even in space. It's in low Earth orbit. We can't even get them back to Earth. How the hell are you going to send people to the moon? They were supposed to be on the moon now. When are we going to the moon now? When's the date being put?
So Artemis now is talking about 2026 to actually circumnavigate but not land on the moon, and 2027
Why are they going to
circumnavigate?
They already circumnavigated. They circumnavigated in 1960. What? How many times do we? And then they went to the moon 6 times. They landed on the moon 5 times.
Now
and now we're back to circumnavigating.
Yeah,
what the hell?
Houston, we have a problem. And Houston, there is a Santa Claus, and that's coming up.
Well,
that's
they're in the space station, aren't they?
They are. Anyway, I guess the best person to look at, someone we keep going to, is the Angry Astronaut.
Oh, he's fabulous.
Pro
I love that
UFO,
guy.
but highly skeptical, very scientifically based. Go and check him out, his YouTube channel. Go to his Patreon channel.
He is angry.
There is a great piece called NASA Delays Artemis 2 Again. SLS cancellation is practically guaranteed.
Yeah, right.
And this man is dry, but he is realistic, and he's on the money. So that's where...
Well, after a while, you start to question. You have to start questioning things, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we were supposed to be better. They were talking... Look, I remember when at the turn of the century, they were talking that in about 2005 or something, that we were going to be going back to the moon. It's like now we're 20 years later. And like I said before, we can't even bring back 2 people from the space station because we don't have the ability to do that. So how the hell are we going to go to the moon anytime soon, and even Mars? And now they're talking about a round trip to Mars. How are they going to do a round trip to Mars when you can't even do a round trip for 8 days to the space station?
I shouldn't be laughing because...
it's just ridiculous.
Well, when you've got so much homelessness and poverty and chaos and conflict in the world, we should be concentrating. They should be they should be Maslow's hierarchy.
Yeah, absolutely. We should be sorting these things out. And, we can. I actually saw something on... it was a post. And it was, Prince William was talking about.
You're kidding me.
No, hang on. It was great. No. Prince William was talking about fixing, world hunger and poverty.
Oh, really?
And
again,
I don't know how many billions of dollars that family's worth. Yeah. Like it was some ridiculous number. And all he needed to do was pay, like a fifth. Or no, a tenth of that money that the family owns, and they would be able to sort out the world poverty. And it's like, well, why don't you do it, mate? Why don't you do it? Because none of you are taking any of them. And, the king, the Queen's father died and left. She's dead now. Charles is going to go pretty soon. None of them are taking any of that cash with them. You know, what are they saving it for? What are they passing it on down to the kids for? I mean, the kids aren't going to take it with them either. Why don't you do something constructive with it?
With your life. Yeah. Anyway, you're on Untold Radio's down south and
I hate roundups. They drive me insane.
My wife always gets worked up.
The insanity. Well, you just look at it and you go, this is just bullshit. I mean, the whole lot is just bullshit.
And we don't use those terms.
Well, I just did then. I just get so frustrated and angry sometimes that.
All right.
It's just so easy to fix, but nobody's willing to do it.
Okay.
Give me the cash, I'll fix it.
Drones have been appearing en masse, but are they drones, and did the drones come after the fact? There are several hypotheses being bandied around, from nuclear ordnance that have gone missing and drones searching for them. But I think what we've been seeing and what people are focusing on in terms of footage does not look like drones. It looks like plasmoids.
Well, it's like
balls and plasma are the greatest mystery to physics that we've ever known.
But it's like this I mean, you could call it kind of an invasion, but this incursion is almost like when they had the airships in the 1800s. You know, there were airships everywhere. It was like just airship insanity.
Had massive
airship insanity, and this is
great book on that.
You know, and this is what's happening now because the technology is drones. Everyone's calling them drones. Before they were calling them, you know, airships, and then during the Second World War, it was Foo Fighters. You know, because they were seeing them all over the place. It's just.
I think what we need to do when it comes to plasmoids is to consider the extraordinary work of Wilhelm Reich and the notion of the orgon.
Yes.
And then also his contemporaries like
Trevor
the
James.
late great Trevor James Constable. But let's just check out a few news.
The White House may be downplaying the drones as a threat, but it's still the source of an FBI investigation. Meanwhile, everyone we spoke to has the same two questions. Who's behind the drones, and why have so many more been spotted hovering overhead?
That is wild.
Gazing up at the night sky, now a focal point of conversation. Reports of drone sightings across the country are climbing, and some are voicing concerns.
Not a commercial airliner. It's hovering. It's sitting right there.
From Hernando Beach.
That is not a plane. That is so low.
To this sighting in St. Pete.
Definitely keep your eyes to the sky, and there's something interesting happening.
Diego Paul captured it on camera and now looking for answers. Alarming?
That is definitely alarming. The fact
Concerns about drones in the night sky have now reached Central Florida.
West 2 viewers are now sending us videos after seeing what they believe to be drones in their neighborhoods at night. West 2's Paola Tristan Arruda spoke to a drone expert about how to tell the difference between a drone and other objects in the sky.
Viewers have submitted these videos across Central Florida, this coming after an outbreak of what are said to be unexplained drone sightings in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and New York.
But you know what? They're not just seeing one drone.
They should be called UFO sightings because they are unidentified flying objects.
And there are incursions over military bases.
There's your problem.
Wright-Patterson Air Force Base was shut down.
Yes.
New York Airport was shut down.
Yeah.
Medevac helicopters have to go on to Avocado and listen to all that great interchange between air traffic controllers and pilots.
Yeah.
This stuff is en masse. They're seeing literally 10s, 50 of these things coming out of the Atlantic Ocean. They don't know where they're going to, where they're coming from.
This is getting insane. Somebody just recovered molten metal that was dropped from a drone that was hovering behind their house in Wickham, England. The user posted these pictures on Reddit with this following statement.
Worldwide phenomena, and now we're getting strains of the Maury Island incident.
How does a drone drop molten metal? I mean, what kind of a drone? Foundry drone? Is it a foundry drone?
Hey guys, what's up? It's Joel here from UFO Disclosure TV. Before we dive into this video, please hit that like button as it helps us grow. And if you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button to catch all the latest videos. In recent weeks, a surge in unusual aerial phenomena over the USA particularly in New Jersey, has sparked widespread intrigue and concern. Many sightings appear to involve drones, possibly linked to unidentified flying objects, UFOs, raising questions about extraterrestrial technology. A growing number of people have captured strange occurrences on video, fueling discussions about mysterious and advanced technology. In this video, we will explore some of the most captivating footage and updates on these enigmatic sightings. One of the most striking clips comes from a person recording from an overpass, with police vehicles visible below.
So I suggest you go to UFO Disclosure TV.
The news, the mainstream news is not even reporting on it.
It's not reporting
Not in
on
Australia, I know
I
that.
tell you what, in this country, it is a blackout. But you go to Ross Coulter.
Yeah, it's all happening there.
And
News Nation.
News Nation, thank you very much. Had a jam there in the hard line. Listen, I think this is a reasonable theory, very interesting, because in many ways it can step into the whole spectrum of anomalous research from the missing 411. Let's have a look at the plasmoid theory.
Recently, headlines have been buzzing about unidentified drones over New Jersey, a mystery fueling speculation that these drones may be tracking plasmoids, enigmatic plasma-like entities potentially tied to unidentified anomalous phenomena, UAPs. Could these sightings offer clues to a deeper understanding of the universe? And how do they connect to groundbreaking research like quark-gluon plasma studies? In this video, we will explore this gripping narrative, packed with thrilling science and mind-bending possibilities. Plasmoids are a profound scientific mystery, linking atmospheric phenomena to potential extraterrestrial and technological interactions. These self-organizing plasma structures, often observed near thunderstorms or in space, represent critical components in understanding UAPS and their reported behaviors. Unlike ordinary plasma, plasmoids exhibit remarkable stability and complexity. They can pulsate, change shape, and even split into smaller plasmoids, behaviors that spark comparisons to biological systems. Recent studies, like those detailed in the 2024 paper on UAPs, highlight plasmoids as a plausible explanation for many mysterious sightings. For instance, pulsating plasma-like objects have been documented hovering near thunderstorms and following aircraft. These objects, which exhibit extraordinary maneuvers, may align with the known characteristics of plasmoids and their interactions with electromagnetic fields. An example from the paper includes plasmoids interacting with space missions, showcasing behaviors that appear to reflect environmental responsiveness. These interactions underline their ability to influence human technology and raise questions about their potential complexity. But what makes plasmoids truly fascinating is their hypothesized connection to life itself. Some scientists propose that plasmoids might represent a fourth domain of life, existing independently of DNA-based biology. This idea stems from their ability to self-replicate and engage in seemingly purposeful interactions. Could plasmoids be a form of prebiotic chemistry, or even a non-carbon-based life form? If so, they might hold the key to understanding the origins of life and its potential diversity across the cosmos. The link to UAPs grows even stronger when considering how plasmoids interact with electromagnetic fields. Military and civilian pilots have reported encounters with luminous objects capable of sudden accelerations and sharp turns. These behaviors align with the known properties of plasmoids, suggesting that many UAP sightings could be plasma phenomena rather than extraterrestrial spacecraft. The recent drone sightings in New Jersey add another layer to this puzzle. Eyewitness accounts describe coordinated drone movements, often occurring during or after thunderstorms, conditions known to foster plasmoid formation. Speculation has surged that these drones are part of scientific or military missions to study plasmoids. Equipped with advanced sensors, the drones may be capturing high-resolution data to better understand plasmoids' behaviors and interactions with electromagnetic fields. Given their potential link to UAPs, plasmoids are likely to be high-priority targets for research. Building on the mystery of plasmoids, we turn to another extraordinary frontier in physics, the quark-gluon plasma, QGP. This extreme state of matter provides a window into the universe's earliest moments and offers insights into the behavior of matter and fundamental forces under conditions of extraordinary density and heat. Why does this matter? For one, QGP's behavior provides a unique testing ground for quantum chromodynamics, Susskirt QCD, the theory describing strong interactions. For example, researchers have observed how QGP behaves like an almost perfect fluid, flowing with minimal resistance. This superfluid property challenges existing models and pushes the boundaries of physics. Interestingly, both QGP and naturally occurring plasmoids exhibit characteristics that challenge the line between chaos and order. These parallels offer a unique perspective on how fundamental cosmic phenomena might be interconnected with atmospheric and extraterrestrial events. Beyond its theoretical significance, QGP could inspire technological advances. By understanding how particles behave under extreme conditions, scientists may unlock applications in energy, materials science, and even space exploration. It also deepens our grasp of how plasmoids might function.
We can't go into space.
Fascinating.
It's not the place for us to be in space.
Space is not the place.
Not for humans.
But Cosmic Pulse of Life, and we're going through it with the green screen here by Trevor James Constable, the revolutionary biological power behind UFOs.
There you go.
This was written 70 years ago. I mean, you know, carrying on the work of Wilhelm Reich. Just check the publishing date there while we're getting a bit of background on Wilhelm Reich.
One of the most important parts of Reich's story that has never been taken seriously is his laboratory science. And I think it's pretty clear that a very large amount of the barriers are not necessarily scientific.
Up in the lab, that's where we did our experimental work. And I was amazed by some of the stuff I was seeing.
The most important thing about Reich, in my opinion, was that he was a revolutionary physician.
From the very beginning, Reich thought that there was only one basic drive.
The apex of sexuality, it's the orgasm. Reich went there as a first.
Das Buch über den Orgasmus.
In 1927, he dedicated his book on the orgasm to his beloved teacher, Freud.
The term sexual politics basically originated with Reich.
He's also a pioneer of body therapy.
And Reich was the first person to introduce breathing into psychoanalytic therapy.
Nobody talks about breathing the way Reich talks about breathing.
Under the Nazis, no other psychoanalyst books and writings were banned to the extent that Reich's were.
Wilhelm Reich took a clear stand against fascism, and his name was on the Gestapo list.
That he undertook such a radical position and paid for it at such great personal sacrifice has made him a role model for me to this day.
The incredible Wilhelm Reich and the deadly orgon, the bioenergetic space critters, he called them.
Yeah.
Certainly check this book out. Check out anything written by Trevor James Constable, who was a student of Reich's, a latter-day student. I just realised you can barely see that, but his original autograph is in there. The late Trevor James Constable. I think he passed
that was
away.
written in 1976.
So, sorry, I exaggerated.
No, you meant it was written in 1976.
But what we're talking about here with the plasmoids is a bit like protoplasm. You know, I found this sort of link in my mind to slime mold, plasmoids, and protoplasm.
Yeah.
Because protoplasm is like the fungi this membrane that has no brain but is alive.
It is alive.
And is so pronounced in its connections, finding the fastest, most direct, quickest route to actually get to what it needs.
Exactly.
And they've done that. They've used that to survey roads, haven't they?
Yes, they have.
They've actually plotted out one of the fastest routes by, I think they're really into Rays and Oatmeal or something.
Yes, yes.
Anyway,
it's bizarre stuff.
It's a really interesting link, and it's a link again to what we were seeing there. So I suggest,
I think, you know what we need to do.
The majority of this footage.
Stick to foraging, you know, sorting out our shelter, looking for food, and just living as simply as we can in the world instead of trying to.
That's a lovely approach.
Crazy things like, you know, going to Mars. Why don't we just fix this planet up instead of going to colonize somewhere else when clearly, you know, the space is a very hostile environment for human beings. And we can see that just from being in low Earth orbit. People are just, you know, going blind, or their eyesight's affected, their muscles, their bones, their everything, you know. They're not even, they're freaked out about, you know, what it'll be like to actually be pregnant in space. They don't even know what that would do to the fetus. So, you know, why don't we all just stay home and make the best of what we've got?
NASA was freaked out about menstruation in space. But anyway,
NASA.
Look, I suppose the only thing we can do is offer just one other suggestion, because we both believe in not taking a hypothesis, but cherry-picking information. So is it the Jetsons? Are they finally...
Joining us tonight, Heather and John Chartia. It is so great to see you both. Heather, I remember you saying this is amazing to fly in, like just floating in the air. John, tell us, what is it like to be in this brand new flying car of yours?
It's the most fun you can have with your clothes on. It's outstanding. I mean, you take off on this thing and you're like floating on air. You're just floating on air.
A little bit like a magic carpet. You know, you just sort of ride the wave of the air.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Heather, I know that both of you have your pilot's license. Very cool father-daughter duo, by the way, a total vibe. Yeah. But do you really think that an average American with a driver's license, with some of the driving we see out there on the road, should be flying this? Should
I don't think any average American, but maybe what they should give is the test prototype to Elon Musk to take for a drive. I mean, there you go. We're speaking about, can drones be the size of cars? Well, they're literally...
Well, that's not a drone.
It's a flying car.
That's not a drone. That's a flying machine, that thing, you know? It's a vehicle. It's a flying vehicle, you know?
I think when we look at this footage worldwide, and it's happening all over the world, China and Russia and Australia, and it's happening specifically around installations that are into classified research in the military, that we do have what I assume to be, it's not a question of belief, it's tallying the information up, what I assume to be the largest UFO, not drone, not UAP.
Because
let's
we don't
go
know
back
what they
to
are.
Ruppelt and that distinction of
I'm telling you,
flying objects.
If they were drones, the FBI would have gone in and shut them all down. They would have confiscated them and gone to these people. What are you doing flying these things over these installations, over the airport, over people's houses? They would have shut them all down. It's just all of a sudden come out of nowhere.
You know, when 12 months ago they were shooting down with very expensive...
Mylar balloons.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
supposedly.
Aspasia, you're on Untold Radio, and Untold Radio has not just one podcast like us. It has many, but it does incredible research. One thing that happened in 2024 was the fuse was lit on the crowd-funded documentary Legend Meets Science.
Yeah.
So finally, let's have a little look, stepping back into the most provocative, controversial, but I believe to be real. It's not a question of belief either. I should dump that word from my vocabulary.
The existence of Bigfoot, a mythical creature of the wilderness, has been a topic of passionate debate for decades. Yet, one piece of tantalizing evidence remains steadfast in the face of skepticism: the 1967 Patterson-Gimlin film. This film, shrouded in mystery and intrigue, has sparked countless debates and scientific investigations. It all began in the autumn of 1967, when two men, Roger Patterson and Bob Gimlin embarked on an expedition into the dense forests of Northern California. They were not on a casual nature trek, but rather a mission to prove the existence of the elusive Bigfoot. What they stumbled upon was more than they had ever hoped for, a real-life encounter with the legendary creature. The creature captured in the film is indeed a spectacle. Its arm and joint ratios defy human proportions. Where the arm flexes, there is no joint found in human anatomy. The creature's intermembral index, a measure of limb proportions, is strikingly different from that of a human. Its torso is longer than 1 in 5,000 humans, and its immense bulk suggests a creature of considerable strength. The nuances of the creature's appearance are fascinating. The hair on its body reflects light in a way only real hair does. It even seems to have a hernia on its right thigh, discovered by Doug Hychek in 2001, which behaves appropriately when weight is applied to the leg. Perhaps most intriguing is the creature's gait. Its legs wallow in and out in a complex, almost knock-kneed motion. The knees never lock, giving the creature a compliant gait. Doug Hychek points out that this gait closely resembles that of the Peruvian horse, a species known for its smooth ride and hill-climbing abilities. Moreover, the creature left deep footprints in the creek's sand, providing further tangible evidence of its presence. The footprints were cast and preserved, offering a tantalizing glimpse into the creature's passage through the area. Adding to the intrigue is the fact that Bob Gimlin, who didn't earn a penny from the film, has maintained his account of the encounter. In 2001, Doug Hychek offered Gimlin $1 million to reveal how the hoax was executed for a TV show he planned to produce. Yet, Gimlin declined the offer, standing by his original narrative. It's interesting to ponder whether the creature, affectionately named Patty, was intentionally leading the men away from her offspring, much like a killdeer bird does when protecting its young. The creature was filmed in full sunlight, a risky move for any hoaxer. So, what do you think? Does the 1967 Patterson-Gimlin 16mm film prove Bigfoot's existence? Or is it just another elaborate hoax in the annals of cryptozoology? The debate continues, the mystery endures. What remains undeniable is the enduring fascination with this elusive creature, the Bigfoot.
Well, of course it exists. And Bob Gimlin is the salt of the earth. That man is not doing any deception at all.
Patterson's gone now, hasn't he?
Yeah. But fortunately, let's hope that with the expertise of Jeff Meldrum and Doug Hychek, that Sasquatch Legend Meets Science, the documentary, the feature film documentary, will be out soon enough. And that will be undeniable weight towards the evidence of this parallel hominid. Now, speaking about, I did exaggerate slightly there on the cosmic pulse of life, but here's something that's 70 years ago to the date. Love those little vintage. Did you see the dome on top of that club? 1954. What was going down in Estonia? 2024. What a year! But I believe the window's been open. It's been broken. And high strangeness is the #1 priority of this world. We want to wish everyone that subscribes and listens to Untold Radio, and especially those people like the beautiful Malcolm, JC there, Catherine, Four Feathers, the people that assist us in this cast. We want to wish you all the best new year.
All our people that, all our interviewees this year were fabulous.
Extraordinary.
I'm actually quite upset that we missed about you know, how many episodes? 8 episodes.
Yeah,
Just
that's
about
really
8 weeks.
distressing for us.
But yeah,
this
that
is our art, no matter what you think about it.
Yeah, that was a huge thing that happened to us this year too. We found out we had to leave our rental property that we've been in for 23 years, and then there was the freak out of where are we going to go, what are we going to find, how are we going to be able to survive out there, because of course we're getting older, we're DJs. Who wants old people DJing to them, the kids? But anyway,
it's last Friday night.
well, no, we had a great time doing that DJ job, of course. But you know, you worry about these things. You start to get a little bit long in the tooth.
Well, time disappears.
How much longer am I going to be able to work, you know, out there? And so we were thinking, God, how are we going to be able to pay the exorbitant rents in this city? Have just become absolutely insane. I don't know how people manage. So, and then we thought, what's going to happen to all our stuff? Where are we going to move to? How are we going to find a place to you know, accommodate everything? And so, look, the universe, of course, came to the fore, as it always has for us, and sorted it out actually beautifully. And we ended up here in Jordan Springs with our niece, you know, in an area that is just, I mean, I'm sitting here, this huge window, and there's just bushland. It's just bushland out the front, and I'm, you know, kangaroos hopping down the street and emus roaming around, which is fabulous.
We're so blessed.
We are so blessed. Anyway, and you know, being able to bring all our things, and we're going to be able to get rid of it, rehouse it, pass it on to other people that can use it now. You know what I mean? So it's been an incredible, a really freaky and blessed year, you know, both at the same time for us.
But
and I hope that everybody else, you know, gets to experience something like that.
For a lot of people.
It has been.
And I think, you know, a tired old cliche is, you know, no matter how difficult things are, always put it into perspective and know that there is a lot worse going on. You can always
find the bright spot in everything. You really can.
We were so lucky because our friends and colleagues supported us beyond what we could have ever imagined.
You know, that's the thing about creating a community and connecting with people, really connecting with people, that when you are in trouble or you do need a helping hand, they will come and help you.
Now,
and they did.
Thinking about the plasmoids, how do I pronounce her last name? Is that Greek?
Kosika. No, it's not.
It's not. Maureen Kosika.
Kosika.
The mystery of the mid-light. And lots of people that experience the mid-light is an earth-light phenomenon. The Martha lights are similar. They all feel like there's a conscious reaction to them observing it. Mm-hmm. Just something that seems to be there with what is happening with this supposed drone activity. Are they drones actually taking information on the plasmoids? No. Drones are probably up there at the same time. Trying to observe these plasmoids. There's more than enough footage now of like helicopters chasing these things.
Sure. But you can tell, but see, that's the thing. You can tell when a helicopter is chasing one of those things. What we can't tell is what one of those things are. That's what you can't tell.
Well, they can't be drones when people say they're silent.
Yeah.
They're the size that they are. They're doing the most extraordinary maneuvers and accelerating off at high speed. So something's going on here. Pay attention.
Yeah, keep an eye out.
And the best thing is to actually stick to your left of center news services. It looks like officialdom just doesn't want the public to be aware of this. Now, something that the public is becoming more and more aware of and is becoming huge, and I think we'll end today's podcast with this and say Happy New Year to everyone out there, is the zoning out competition. Do you know about that in Korea? South Korea, of course. Let's have a little look.
That's what we need, something...
A space-out competition has taken place here in the capital, challenging participants to space out for 90 minutes in the most relaxed manner to claim victory. Our Ian, he explains what this event is all about.
Do you ever want to just space out and do nothing for a while? Well, there is a place where people gather to do that and maybe even win a trophy. Seoul City Government hosted the 10th Space Out competition on Sunday at the Panpo Hangang Park.
I wanted to apply for this competition as this competition is very interesting to me. It underlines the importance of taking time for ourselves and relax and meditation.
This year, more than 2,700 teams applied to participate in the competition, and 80 individuals or teams of up to 3 members were selected. Participants spanning from celebrities to athletes were there to express their individuality, adding to the enjoyment of the competition.
We are bakers, so it's really hot in front of the oven. I found myself wanting to empty my mind.
After working so hard, I feel confident about spacing out.
As I've entered my 60s, I wanted to try new things and explore a variety of experiences. I don't necessarily have ambitions of winning first place. Instead, I'm cherishing it as a wonderful experience.
And with a bell ring to start the competition, each participant settled into their own comfortable state of spacing out. Surprisingly, the presence of a crowd didn't seem to disrupt their peaceful state of mind. To win, participants need to maintain a blank state by not moving or even thinking about anything for 90 minutes. Wristband heart rate monitors will check every 15 minutes. Visual artist Upsiang is the organizer of the event. She says the
Oh, sorry. Hold on. I was spacing out then. I was zoning out. Can you
I won.
You won. Can you believe that? Do we
You know what I think? Sometimes we should just drop the bomb on this place. Like, seriously, just drop it, wipe us out, and let nature take it back from the insanity that is humanity. I mean, seriously. Do you people, why can't you sit quietly in your own home? And like I said, they're just meditating. Are they meditating, but they're just sitting there looking like zombies? Oh my God, we need to wipe this planet out. We're just useless.
I think it has reached a new level of absurdity.
Of insanity. Insanity. Oh, geez, I don't know what to do.
Zoning out competitions, it's like I'm going to spend years and years training for that.
Do you really need, I mean, that girl, the bakers, do you really need to empty your mind? It's like you're going to burn your fingers when you open the oven to pull the bread out. I mean, what is wrong with you people? That's not the time to zone out when you're working. They don't know. We don't know what to do with ourselves anymore.
Too much time on it.
It's not too much time on their hands. Everybody's so busy all the time doing what? I don't know. I really don't know what they're busy doing.
And we need to acknowledge the right people like Doctors Without Borders, people that go in and assist those in war zones, people in the hospital service, teachers. We need to reward those people and not Elon Musk.
Yeah, no. I mean, I saw a post of a lady that we know and we see every year at the Sydney Underground Film Festival, Stephanie Gall, and I saw a post that she put up, and she went with her son on Christmas Day and helped, you know, she volunteered with her little boy, and they were
what a brilliant thing,
volunteering to serve meals to people that didn't have food. And I thought, you know, and she volunteers at Sydney Underground Film Festival every year, and you see people like that who are so giving themselves, and never get any of the accolades, never get recognised.
They should be applauded. There should be
sociopathic people that get paid too much to act, or too much to sing, or too much to do anything. You know, are being rewarded all the time and behave so badly.
So
you know. And then you've got people on ground level that are just salt of the earth people, just doing it quietly and not expecting any kind of recognition or rewards or anything. And thank God for that there are people like that out there, but we just don't recognise the right people, do we?
So I think in 2025, let's dump the freak off parties and go to the space out parties.
They're over, aren't they? No, not even the zone out. But I mean, seriously, you want to win for sitting there doing nothing, just sitting there blankly? Go and do something constructive.
Yeah.
You know what? Go and do something constructive.
I think it's all about
and help someone that needs some help.
Creativity, love, and support versus consumerism, which has reached a tsunami level. You know. Anyway, you're on Untold Radio. That was episode 105, 2024. We just cherry-picked little bits and pieces. Year in review beyond.
I think I'm going to become known as the angry podcaster instead of the angry.
Go and check out The Angry Astronaut. Check
Yeah,
out
great.
Timothy Alberino's material on Peru.
Yeah.
Check out the plasmoids. I think there's something in there. That, to me, that plasmoid hypothesis
That was
makes a little
interesting.
more sense.
Well, that was interesting. Absolutely,
And
there was something there that piqued them, that spoke to me, and said, yeah, there could be something there for sure.
Anyway, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
We wish it will be the most successful, prosperous, caring,
a better year,
beautiful year, and especially when we extend ourselves into the lives of others that don't have what we've got, because we've all got so much. Bless you all, and we'll catch up with you.
We'll be back next year.
You're kidding me.